people of God. I'm going to be talking to you about my nightly devotional scripture, which is James chapter 1. And it talks about having trials and the benefits of having those trials, as well as how God works under trials. So, one of the scriptures that stands out in James 1 is verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Because that's 2 and 3. And verse 4 says, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So right there, that tells you that anything that you're in need of, anything that you're trusting God for, anything that you're believing God for, anything that you know that you stand in need of, you're going to be tested. Your faith is going to be tested. While this is a season of abundance, this is a season of release, this is also a season of testing. Many Christians, many believers, many faith walkers are going to have their faith tested, even though God is still yet blessing, because he says every good gift, because he goes on to say every good and perfect thing comes from above, which means there's some work you have to do in order for him to entrust that which you are asking God to give you. So he says you will be complete if you let it work in you, that you have nothing to lack for. So when you know that you know that you know that you know, then you already know the end result is the blessing belongs to you. You know that the blessing is coming to you. You know that your faith is going to be tested, but through it all, at the end of the journey, the blessing still belongs to you. But you got to work to get to the blessing. Because then he also says in verse 17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. So that means that he is the supplier of all your needs. I mentioned earlier in one of my daily devotional posts that he is the supplier of all your needs. He does not tempt you. He's not going to give you anything halfway. He's not going to halfway bless you. When God blesses you, he blesses you abundantly, because the scriptures before that says that God does not tempt or by evil, nor does he tempt himself to or anyone. So that just says the blessing that you're waiting for, the blessing that has been promised and entrusted to you, it's a complete thing. Because if you go back, he says that which you are lacking, he will fulfill completely. Anytime God blesses you, he completely blesses you. He does not halfway bless you. He does not half-heartedly bless you. He blesses you abundantly, exceedingly, above all you could ever ask or think of. So even though you're putting a request unto him, you're trusting that he's going to give it to you, but he's saying, no, I'm going to go above that. But I want you to work a little bit harder in your faith walk to trust me for that which you are asking me to give you. You are trusting God for your blessings. You're trusting God for your breakthrough. You're trusting God for your healing. You're trusting God to turn things around. But you got to have some faith to go behind that, because then he then goes on to say, be not just hearers of the word. You now have to also do something. When God does something for you, he expects something in turn, which means you not only have to work to get your blessing, you need to work to keep your blessing. He doesn't just give you things and you ain't got to work for it. He's a gracious God. Yes, he is. But he also has a demand on that which he blesses you with. Just like he did with the 10 talents. He gave each one according to what he knew that they were capable of cultivating with. Some he gave 1, some he gave 2, some he gave all 10. But and the ones that he did give, he knew what the expected return is going to be, because he's all seeing, all knowing. He's the beginning of the end. He spoke the world into existence. He knows the very hairs on your head. So he knows what he's going to give you, what you're going to do with it, whether you're going to fail or whether you're going to succeed. So that's why you have trials, because he wants to know that when all is said and done, you're ready, you're capable, capable. You'll do what is required of you to maintain that blessing. So when he came back and found the one that buried it, oh, he said, no, that's not what I required of you. I gave that to you so that you could go out and enhance my kingdom, that you could go out and cultivate that maybe when I come back, I'll give you more, but I want to see what you're working with. You showed him that you ain't got nothing to work with if you're hiding or you're sitting on a gift that he has given you. When you hide and when you sit and you don't do what is required of you, that's when the trials become greater. That's when the tribulations become stronger. Not only when you are walking in faith, but also when you're not doing what is required. He says we are doers of, he requires doers, not hearers. If you want to be a hearer, you'll always be a spectator. You'll always be a bystander. You'll always be going through. You'll never make it out. You'll always be in one pit after the next pit. And that's not what he desires. He wants to bless you. He wants to give you the greatest gifts. He wants you to be cultivated. He wants you to be complete. He does not want you to lack. He does not want you to always struggle. He does not always want you to be bound. He wants you to be free. So in reading this, I am encouraged and enlightened because he is a faithful and righteous God. And then he also says that we must bridle our tongue. So don't curse your situation. You can either curse or you can bless your situation. If you are not doing what is required of you and you're sitting around complaining about where is God or woe is me or I'm always going through and I just can't get a break, well, what are you doing so that God can give you that break? What are you cultivating so that God can say, okay, I see you doing a little bit of work. Are you just listening and receiving and taking in and feeding off of somebody else? Or are you working what God gave you? Because when you're working what God gave you, you can bless your situation, which cause a greater turnaround. But if you're constantly speaking negativity, speaking doubt, speaking fear, speaking worry, you are hindering not only yourself, you're holding up your blessing, you are continuously walking in lack because you're not allowing the patience to perfect you while you're going through. Because the key word of going through is that there's a destination, there's an end point, there's a place that you got to get to. The key word in tribulation means that even though while you're going through, there is an end result, because as you come out, there's a victory, there's a praise, there's an abundance, there's an overflow. But you have to cultivate that which you know to do, because that which you don't have, he said he will complete it. So I encourage you on tonight, get in the Word of God, find a Bible-based ministry, or find, somebody that is rooted and grounded and honestly seeking after the things of God and not just for their own self-will, and is on the right track, that is able to motivate you and cultivate that which was in you, because we've all got gifts. We've all got talents. We've all got things we're working on. We've all got things we're going through. But we have a destination. He requires us to be victorious. He requires us to be whole. He requires us to be complete. He requires us to be blessed. It blesses him to be able to bless you. He said every good and perfect gift. He does not give anything to his people that is imperfect, which means he's not going to bless you with less than. He's always going to bless you with more than. So if I can encourage you with anything else, just know that you have an expected end. As long as you stand in faith, as long as you cultivate that which you know to cultivate, he gave you seeds that have been planted. He wants you to water. He wants you to turn those seeds over. He wants you to break that fallow ground. He wants you to just get your mind stayed on the things above and not what's going on around you. You have an inheritance that belongs to you. You have a voice that he wants to hear more praises. He wants to hear more faith coming out. Not all this negativity, not all this doubt, not all this fear, not all this worry. I am more than a conqueror. Yea, though I walk through the valley, I will fear no evil. I am the head and not the tail. I am a lender and not a borrower. My God shall supply all my needs. I am a virtuous woman. I fear the Lord. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. These things you need to speak. I shall mount up with wings like an eagle and soar. I will not be weary in well doing, but in due season I shall reap what I sow. So what are you reaping that you're not sowing the good things of God? That you are not, what are you sowing that you're not reaping the good things of God? What are you going through that you're not speaking life and instead of death over your situation? I just ask that you continue to keep your mind on things above. Know that God has great things in store for you. Know that he has an expected end to the things that you've been battling with, the things that you've been going through. That your story is a success. Your story is a victory. Your story is a testimony. Everything that you've been through, you're not going to stay there. You're not meant to be stuck. We are unstuck. We are overcomers. We are a designed and destined people. We are authentic to the only maker of the universe. We are who God says we are, and we are not anything less. I encourage you to get out there and speak your faith and work your faith to the best of your ability and watch God turn your situation around. Be blessed.